In 2026, a growing number of Americans are making a financial decision that would have seemed extreme just a decade ago, leaving one of the world's largest economies to relocate thousands of miles away to the Philippines. Not for adventure or tourism, but for a single powerful reason: the mathematics of survival, where the same retirement income that struggles to cover basic expenses in the United States can support a comfortable lifestyle overseas. And when the average American household now spends between $4,000 and $6,000 per month to maintain a modest standard of living while inflation, healthcare costs, and housing shortages continue to pressure middle-class budgets, the financial contrast becomes impossible to ignore because in many Philippine cities, a comparable lifestyle can be maintained for $1,200 to $2,000 per month, creating a gap large enough to redefine what retirement, remote work, and financial independence look like in the modern global economy. This shift matters today because the economic environment facing Americans has fundamentally changed. With housing affordability at multi-decade lows, medical expenses rising faster than wages, interest rates increasing, the cost of debt, and retirement savings falling short for a large percentage of the population, while at the same time remote work, digital income streams, and international banking access have made geographic flexibility easier than ever, allowing individuals to separate where they earn from where they spend, which turns cost of living differences into one of the most powerful financial strategies available in 2026. The most significant factor driving relocation decisions is housing, which represents the largest expense category for most households. And in the United States, the median rent for a one-bedroom apartment in a major metro area ranges from $1,500 to $2,500 per month, while even smaller cities frequently exceed $1,000. And homeownership requires high down payments combined with mortgage rates that have increased monthly obligations dramatically. Whereas in the Philippines, a fully furnished one-bedroom condominium in cities such as Cebu or parts of Metro Manila can be rented for $300 to $700 per month depending on location and building quality. And in smaller cities or provincial areas, the same budget may secure a larger property with utilities included, reducing housing costs by as much as 60 to 80% compared to U.S. urban markets. Grocers and food costs further widen the financial gap, because American households now spend approximately $400, $2, $800 per month per person, depending on location and dietary habits, while restaurant prices, delivery fees, and convenience spending have risen sharply due to labor and supply chain costs. Whereas in the Philippines, locally sourced produce, fresh markets, and lower labor costs allow individuals to maintain a full monthly food budget between $150 and $300. And even regular dining out often costs less than a single restaurant meal in many U.S. cities, meaning food expenses alone can drop by half or more without reducing quality or nutrition when managed strategically. Healthcare represents one of the most decisive financial pressures in the United States, where even insured individuals face high premiums, deductibles, and out-of-pocket costs, and where a single emergency or chronic condition can significantly impact long-term financial stability, while retirees under age 65 face particularly high private insurance costs. Compared to the Philippines, where private healthcare services are widely available at a fraction of U.S. pricing, routine doctor visits may cost $20 to $50, specialist consultations remain affordable, and many expatriates combine international insurance plans with out-of-pocket payments, reducing total annual healthcare spending by thousands of dollars. Although the trade-off includes the need to choose reputable hospitals and maintain emergency coverage for major procedures, transportation expenses also contribute to the relocation advantage because American households spend an average of $700 to $1,000 per month when car payments, insurance, fuel, maintenance, and parking are combined, while urban design often requires vehicle ownership for daily life. Whereas in the Philippines, many expatriates rely on ride-hailing services, taxis, public transportation, or walking within mixed-use neighborhoods, allowing total transportation spending to fall below $150 to $300 per month depending on lifestyle choices. Utilities and everyday services highlight another structural difference driven by labor costs, as electricity, internet, mobile service, housekeeping, maintenance, and personal services remain significantly cheaper due to lower wage levels, allowing total monthly utilities and services to average between $150 and $300 compared to $300 to $600 in many U.S. regions. While discretionary spending categories, such as gym memberships, personal care, entertainment, and domestic help become accessible at price levels that would be considered luxury services in the United States. When these categories are combined into a full cost comparison, the financial contrast becomes clear, with a modest American urban lifestyle frequently requiring $4,500 per month after taxes, while a comfortable expatriate lifestyle in the Philippines may range from $1,500 to $2,500 depending on location and housing preferences. meaning that a retiree with a $2,000 a monthly Social Security benefit faces financial strain domestically but can achieve full expense coverage abroad, transforming retirement from a risk scenario into a stable financial plan. However, this movement is not driven solely by lower prices, because currency strength plays a critical role, as U.S. dollar earnings maintain strong purchasing power against the Philippine peso, effectively amplifying income value and protecting expatriates from some of the inflation pressures affecting domestic spending. While digital banking, international transfers, and online work platforms have reduced the logistical barriers that once limited overseas living to a small minority, the result is a growing financial strategy known as geographic arbitrage, where individuals intentionally relocate to regions with lower living costs in order to increase savings rates, extend retirement funds, reduce financial stress, or achieve financial independence years earlier than would be possible within the United States. And as economic uncertainty continues into 2026, this strategy is transitioning from a niche lifestyle choice into a mainstream financial planning consideration. Yet while the numbers explain the movement, the long-term implications extend beyond monthly budgets, because lower expenses change how savings accumulate, how investment timelines accelerate, and how financial risk is managed, which leads to a deeper question explored in the next section. Whether moving abroad simply reduces costs, or whether it fundamentally reshapes the path to long-term financial security. The long-term financial impact of relocating to a lower-cost country becomes most visible when examined through the lens of savings rates and investment growth. Because when living expenses fall from $4,500 per month to $2,000, the difference of $2,500 represents $30,000 per year in potential savings. In over a decade, even without investment returns, this cost advantage alone can preserve $300,000 in capital. While if those savings are invested with a moderate annual return of 6 to 7%, the compounded value can exceed $500,000. Illustrating that geographic relocation is not only a lifestyle decision, but also a powerful wealth preservation and wealth extension strategy. For retirees, the implications are even more significant because longevity risk, defined as the possibility of outliving retirement savings, becomes one of the greatest financial threats in modern planning. And when fixed income sources such as Social Security or pension payments must stretch across 20 to 30 years, reducing monthly expenses by 40 to 60% dramatically lowers the withdrawal rate required from retirement portfolios, increasing the probability that assets will last throughout retirement even during periods of market volatility. Remote workers and digital professionals face a different but equally important advantage, because earning S-level income while spending at Philippine cost levels allows savings rates of 40 to 70% of income, compared to the typical American savings rate of less than 10%. Accelerating timelines for debt elimination, emergency fund creation, and investment accumulation, while also providing a financial buffer against job loss, economic downturns, or unexpected medical expenses. However, financial discipline remains the determining factor because lower living costs do not automatically create wealth if spending expands to match income, a pattern known as lifestyle inflation. And research consistently shows that long-term financial success depends more on savings, behavior, than income level, meaning that individuals who relocate without maintaining structured budgets, emergency reserves, and investment plans may fail to capture the full financial advantage of geographic arbitrage. Risk management also plays a critical role in evaluating the relocation strategy, including currency fluctuations, political and regulatory changes, healthcare access for complex conditions, and the need to maintain financial ties such as U.S. banking, tax compliance, and international insurance coverage. While maintaining a diversified investment portfolio and dollar-denominated assets helps protect long-term purchasing power regardless of local economic conditions. Quality of life considerations introduce another layer of analysis, because while lower costs increase financial flexibility, factors such as infrastructure, reliability, climate adaptation, cultural adjustment, and distance from family influence long-term satisfaction. And economic research suggests that relocation success is highest when financial benefits are combined with realistic expectations, location, research, and contingency planning for future healthcare needs or potential return migration. From a macroeconomic perspective, the migration trend reflects a broader structural shift in the global economy, where rising living costs in developed nations and improved infrastructure in emerging markets are narrowing lifestyle gaps while maintaining significant price differences, allowing retirees, remote workers, and financially disciplined households to optimize spending location without sacrificing connectivity, healthcare access, or modern conveniences. The strategic lesson emerging from this trend is that financial independence in 2026 is no longer determined solely by income growth, but increasingly by expense optimization, geographic flexibility, and disciplined allocation of resources. Because every dollar not spent on high-cost housing, insurance, or transportation represents capital that can be redirected toward investments, debt reduction, or long-term security. Ultimately, the movement of Americans to the Philippines is not simply a story about lower rent or cheaper groceries, but a reflection of a larger financial reality, where the traditional path of earning more to keep up with rising costs is being replaced by a more efficient strategy of spending smarter within a global marketplace. And for individuals willing to evaluate the risks, maintain disciplined financial structures, and prioritize long-term stability over short-term convenience, geographic arbitrage offers a powerful tool for extending retirement timelines, accelerating wealth accumulation, and reducing financial stress in an increasingly expensive world. The core conclusion is not that relocation is the right decision for everyone, but that the financial mathematics behind the trend reveal a broader principle that applies regardless of location. Sustainable wealth is built not only by increasing income, but by controlling expenses, protecting purchasing power, and aligning lifestyle choices with long-term financial discipline. And as cost pressures continue to shape economic decisions worldwide, this principle will remain one of the most important drivers of financial freedom in the years ahead.